Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Footy Show. We are live on Patreon. Don't forget, if you're not on Patreon, join us. The link is in the description. But today is a special show because for the first time on the Footy Show, we're joined by a guest, and that guest is the one and only Super Kevin Campbell. We've got the man. And this time he's not lying down. He's in an upright position.
It's because he's got his own show now. On his YouTube, I've seen it. He's a presenter now, so he's sitting up.
There was never any laying down. I don't know why you're saying that, but you know what? I'm chilled, so if you want me to lay down, I can.
You were just vertical last time. It was. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have no problem with that, but
I word. What you on about?
He's sat up, just chilling. It's cool. It's all cool.
Obviously, a couple of weeks now till the Premier League starts. Well, just under 2 weeks for the Gunners, who are going to have to go to Manchester City. How are you feeling about that? You feeling like it's all getting done the right way and we're on the right course?
Yeah, I do. I think caution has to be the key at the beginning, solely because, you know, for anything to happen like this pandemic and for it to shut football down, you know, you can't just go straight back into it 100%. We've got to take our time and see how things work. So I think they're doing the right thing. I think footy's been missed big time. But I think what else is going to happen is people are going to realise without the fans, football serves a little purpose, but it's not the same product without the fans. I think that's really going to hit home to a lot of footballers, a lot of football clubs, and to the fans who ain't there as well, because, you know, the fans can't wait to watch. But just seeing it from a distance, well, I've seen enough of the German league now to last a lifetime. It's not for me, really, the German league. But obviously, when you've got skin in the game with your teams and stuff like that, when you're watching it and there's no fan base there, I think it's going to be a poorer product. But to even get it back in our lives is going to be welcome.
Kev, I mean, just watching the German stuff. I mean, I've watched most of the games just because it's footy. I mean, I quite like the German stuff anyway, but it is massively different, obviously, at the moment with no supporters in the stadium. But what do you think? Because obviously, I can't see a point at the moment where we're going to be allowed back in stadiums, probably this side of Christmas, at the moment. Whether that changes, fingers crossed it will. But what do you think the Premier League could do, or clubs could do, to make it a better experience for the fans than what we're seeing so far in Germany? Or is there anything?
Well, it's a difficult one. You know, look, we could talk about partly crowded stadiums because of the safety, social distancing, etc., etc. You know, that might be something that can get brought in slowly but surely, where, you know, certain fans come in and you have to sit a certain distance away from each other, but at least you get some fans in. I think that's the key, you know, to slowly integrate it back in. Maybe that's the key. But, you know, if you go with a family and it's a family of 4, how many of you actually go? You know, there's so many different permutations and difficulties with that. But I just want the product back. I want the fans back in, and you know, it's poor without the fans, man. It really is. It really is.
What have you made of the records in the German football so far? The home wins are ridiculously low. Is that something that could throw up a little bit of chaos in the Premier League, make it a very exciting finish obviously more at the bottom than at the top? But do you think that playing in front of no fans has just made it a very even playing field for a lot of these teams now? You don't have, I mean, listen, we know how important fans are, and we are fans, and we know how much of an advantage that is at Goodison Park. Certainly for us, our home record's amazing. But, you know, you've seen that record, that makes it a very different kind of game, doesn't it? Knowing that it's not going to be, those home advantages are out the window now.
Well, look, you know, the opposing team still has to travel, still have to be in a hotel, etc. But the big factor was the 12th man. Let's be honest. When that 12th man gets behind the Blues at Goodison Park, it's, you know, it's deafening. But you take that away, and teams all of a sudden start fancying themselves. You know, it's that's what tends to happen. And obviously look, Everton fans make a massive difference to Everton at Goodison Park. There are some home fans where they're not so vocal. Arsenal, for instance, have had that leveled at them, that the Emirates ain't the stadium that Highbury was, and the crowd don't influence the team as much as it should. So there's some, it might work for them.
Yeah.
Some teams, because they haven't really had that push from the crowd. It's a mindset of the players, I think. You're at home and you've really just got to go for it, because there's some points to be had what can make a real difference to quite a few teams if they grab the ball by the horns at this stage. So it's going to be an important one to try and get some wins under the belt.
Kev, you just touched on it there about the players and mentality and stuff. And I think there was a game last night where the Bremen were beaten 3-0 at home by Frankfurt last night, and they'd had 2 away wins on the run, Bremen, and then they come back home. And I think there's only been 7 home wins, I think, so far in the 4 rounds. But as a player and as an ex-player, how do you think you would have found it when you crossed that white line? Is it a case of just, I want to win this game because I'm a professional, or, I know it's difficult to put your mind in it, but how do you think those players will react to playing in front of no crowd?
The funny thing is, when you, as a player, whether you play home or you play away, what you tend to do is you use the environment to focus yourself. So if you're at home, you use the crowd, the fact that you're on your home pitch, to motivate not only yourself, but to motivate your teammates to win the game, because the crowd are going to play a part. When you're away from home and everybody's against you, you use your little section of fans that you got away to motivate yourself to say, right, we're going to war now, boys. We're against all this lot. Let's stick it to them. And then you score and you hear the din of the away fans cheering. You use all that for motivation. But now there's no crowd to use. There's no away section to use. So really it's a game that's going to be played up here before you actually cross the white line. Because if your mind ain't right before you cross the white line, you can't all of a sudden get it during the game, because there's nothing really to latch onto. Crowd-wise or anything like that. So I think there's going to have to be a few coaches and stuff focusing the players enough that when they cross that white line, forget there's no crowd there. It's about 3 points. And there's enough riding on it now anyway, because Everton have a chance of getting into Europe, don't they? So, that type of thing should be able to motivate the players just as much as there being no crowd.
That's one thing we've talked about, haven't we, where games have been taken away from teams 2 or 3, and all of a sudden it's like they throw the towel in, and it's like next minute it's 3 and 4-0 very quickly. Whereas, like you're saying, if you've got crowd there who are kind of depending on you or willing you on, or even getting on your back because you're not pulling right, your finger out, that's not going to be there. So it really is going to be the kind of football me and Pedder used to, which is playing on a park pitch without 40,000
Have you ever played in those kind of circumstances, Kev? Have you ever played in a behind closed doors game?
Well, not really behind closed doors. I mean, if you remember rightly, it was the combination in London, but it was the Central League, I think, was up here, where when the first team are away, the reserves play at home. And obviously there's a few people there, but it's empty stadium, really. The ball gets kicked in the stand, and a young lad's in that stand. You got to wait a couple of minutes for him to go and get the ball. That type of thing obviously happened. Playing behind closed doors, you'd kind of do it at the training ground, but it's not a game at the training ground. Is not a Premier League game being played at your home stadium where there's something on the line. There's something totally different. Again, it's the mentality. So I haven't really done it behind closed doors, played a game like that, but I'm sure it's going to be a challenge for the players, because they're used to having that biased crowd with them, and it's going to make a huge difference if they're not focused.
Obviously, we're talking about behind closed doors, but one of the talking points up here at the moment is there's a possibility that the Merseyside derby might have to be played at a neutral venue. We still don't know. We're still not sure. We still don't even know who's making that decision. How do you think that will make the competition look if a certain amount of games have to be played on a neutral ground? Certainly something like a Merseyside derby where, you know, we've already played that game once this season at Anfield. Okay, we've lost the crowd, but what would that mean to lose that home advantage as well for a game as important as that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, if home games are going to happen at the home stadiums, and both teams are in Liverpool, why not have the Merseyside derby at Goodison? You know, to me that doesn't really make sense. Maybe they're doing it for a certain reason regarding TV, etc. Because obviously there's certain rights that open up now because there's been a pandemic and a lockdown. So it's got to be driven by something else other than, you know, Everton having the advantage of being home, having had the disadvantage of being away already. So it makes no sense to me.
Well, Kev, to be honest, it's been driven because, let's be honest, they fully expect a lot of fans to turn up at the ground, whether it be Everton fans or Liverpool fans. I'm not casting aspersions on anybody, but that's the general feeling, isn't it? You know, no, they're not really talking about it, but we know that's why, because our mayor, Joe Anderson, who is a big Blue, has already said he doesn't really want Liverpool to, you know, maybe get the trophy in Liverpool because he feels like there will be a lot of fans who'll turn up, and as we are in a pandemic. But it just seems very strange that, you know, that could happen anywhere. But
go on the back of that, they're also talking about the North London derby being at a neutral venue, because obviously Arsenal have got to play Spurs, haven't they, at Tottenham's ground? So they're talking about that one being moved as well. So it's mad, isn't it, that again, it's changed, and it has to, I suppose, because we're living in the times that we're living in. But it is, if it's safe enough to return, you'd like to think it was safe enough for them games to be played where they should be. But we know that they're talking 4 or 5 games are going to be played at neutral venues. So again, that just throws up a little bit of another different scenario, Kev, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's a curveball, really. That really is a curveball for the clubs. And you know what? I think the fans would want to be there. Of course they would. But that's what the police are there for.
Yeah.
You know, to control anybody loitering or anybody who wants to go. People know it's a game that you can't go to. So whether they go, just try by the off chance to go by, you know, and there's no access, then they're going to go home, aren't they? So, you know, I think it's a bit of a cop out by the authorities and the police, to be fair.
Kev, can I ask you just about the actual process of going back and playing in obviously what is very, you know, some people are nervous about playing, and rightly so. And you're obviously an ex-player, so I can ask you as a player, but you're also a father of a player, a footballer who is now, you know, Tyrese has got to go back and play. The Championship's coming back as well. Obviously, Stoke are coming back. So, as a player, I mean, how do you think you'd feel at the moment? We've seen stuff with Troy Deeney, for instance, you know, as a black footballer, worried about going back. Obviously, his son, I think his 5-month-old son, has got respiratory problems, and we've seen N'Golo Kante as well at Chelsea, who's got some worries. His family's got a history of illness as well, and he's had a couple of episodes of fainting and stuff, hasn't he? So he's got the concerns. But just before we come on to the BAME footballers and stuff, as a footballer yourself, do you think you'd have a nervousness about going back, or do you just think you just want to get back in there because I'm a footballer and I want to play?
Yeah, I think I'd want to get back playing as quickly as possible. Obviously, if there are mitigating circumstances with certain things, if family members or whatever have an issue, then you have to really take maybe a look at it from a different angle, because what you don't want to do is hinder their health.
Of course, yeah.
But being a footballer and being in the football environment is probably one of the safest environments you could be in, with the testing, etc. You know, small numbers in training at the start, and then obviously it ramps up as the testing and the all the proof that the testing worked, and there's no signs of COVID. Then obviously you could get into contacts. But for me, it's a matter of I want to get back. I want to finish the season. I want to play because it's what I get paid to do. It's my job. So again, if my family have no issues, then what's there to worry about as far as I'm concerned? I'm probably in the safest place to be is in a football club and working with the football medical staff. So yeah, I just want to get back. And even my son going back, he said, "Dad, what do you think?" So I said, "Son, I know me, son." I said, "I'd want to get back." He said, "I can't wait to get back because training alone ain't good."
No.
You want to get back. You want to get back with the lads and the managers and all these kind of things and have the banter because that's been such a big part of your life. And he had a couple of tests before they went back at Stoke. People are past, so they're back in now. It's their second week back in. So it's just to get back into the flow of things and something to look forward to is the games.
I mean, he was on a great run as well just before it stopped, wasn't he, scoring goals? But one thing before, I know Pet's got something to say, but just one thing about Tyrese and about the Championship. They got told quite late that it was starting again on the 20th, and how's he found that? Because all of a sudden there seemed to be, certainly from our perspective, the Championship was kind of put over there and no one was really speaking about it, and then all of a sudden it's back. We know that the QPR and Les Ferdinand in particular has been very scathing of the fact they were told, I think, 40 minutes before an official announcement when they were going to start. And Mark Warburton, the QPR manager, said, "We need another week." And the Championship said, "No, we're starting that day." So what's Tyrese found? Does he think it's a little bit too quick, or is he just, listen, I'm focused and I'm ready to go?
No, I think the Stoke have been pretty smart on how they've been conducting themselves. They set the players with a program to stick to, and all the players have stuck to the program. I think that's the key. You give them a bit of time off, but you're still footballers, and when you don't know, you might as well stay prepared. Because if you prepare, it's one thing if they turn out down the line and say, we're gonna cancel the league. But if they say we're going to start and you're unprepared, that's down to management and that's down to players. So they've been prepared. He's been training hard, been working hard. So to say, right, guys, the league's going to start then, it's brilliant because, right, we've got to focus now. Let's get everybody back in. Everybody's fitness is at a certain level. We just need to tweak it a little bit, obviously playing games and training, etc., and then we're going to be there. So I think it's down to the club and how the club handle their players away from the stadium. That matters.
I was just going to say, we've got the perfect person on with us to talk about training on their own. Because we all remember the pictures of you, Kev, in the parks, running on your own, getting ready.
Oh, the golf course, parks, anything. I was doing everything, mate.
Waiting for that here to be sorted so that you could become an Everton player. One of the little things that's come up off all the back of this is obviously players' contracts are getting extended or not extended. And we've got a situation at Charlton where we've got a Lyle Taylor who will not extend his contract for another month because he's waiting basically for a deal elsewhere. I don't know whether there's already one in place or he feels like he's going to get one. He says he hopes that Charlton fans don't hate him. They find it in his heart that they don't hate him. And Lee Bowie's obviously come out and backed him. Have you got sympathy for the player, obviously, in his situation?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Look, nobody could see this happening. Obviously, he would have played his contract out until contract finishes on June the 30th. And then I think he's a free contract after that to go on. So, he'll be sorting himself out what he's going to do because obviously he's free from June 30th, July 1st. So signing another month, if he got injured, a career-threatening injury, if he done his cruciate or got injured, which club's going to take him? So, when it's a matter of work and probably the deal's already sorted out or he's got a few clubs who he wants to speak to sort a deal out, you just can't play with your future like that. Just for the sake of a month or 6 weeks. No, you can't play with your future like that because I'm sure he's got a missus, he's got children probably or whatever, even if he didn't, you still can't play with your future like that. So I've got every sympathy for him.
I mean,
and it's great that Lee Bowyer backs him as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's Charlton's top scorer as well, which is frustrating for them. But we've seen at Everton, I mean, Jean-Philippe Gbamin last week, back training, stretches for a ball in head tennis, out for 9 months, Achilles tendon. So players, I know that could happen any day in training, and as Gbamin's proved, but for someone like Lyle Taylor, with his contract running down, you know, that happens in a game on the 27th of June, and he's due to, you know, it is for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It's a tough call, isn't it? It's a tough call, but you can understand why not.
Well, really, he can play up until June the 30th.
Mm-hmm.
That's when his contract. So he can play certain games.
Yeah.
You know, but anything after that, you're taking a huge risk as a footballer to go beyond that.
Well,
some will do it because, you know, they don't care. But if you're a young player or whatever, and you've got something sorted out down the line, you're not going to want to take that risk.
Well, I mean, a couple of high-profile ones. I mean, Jan Vertonghen said he won't play on after the 30th of June. He's refused an extension for Spurs, so he's quite a high-profile one. We've also got, you know, Bournemouth have got 9 players or 10 players out of contract on the 30th of June, and one of them is Ryan Fraser, who I know has been linked with a move to Arsenal. He's also been linked with big moves up Everton, one of them, and Liverpool in another paper and stuff like that, because he's obviously quite highly rated for Bournemouth. They've got Jordan Ibe, who's ex-Liverpool, who said he won't play for Bournemouth after the 30th of June. He's done. So, you know, Bournemouth have got a real issue there as well. A few other clubs have got them, and you know, in the relegation battle as well, Kev. I mean, that's going to be key, isn't it? Villa, Dean Smith said a couple of his players won't play because of COVID, because of the health problem. I think one's got asthma and one's got a family member living with them who's unwell. So Dean Smith, Villa are going to lose a couple. But someone like Bournemouth could end up losing half a dozen, and that could really mean their relegation, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could. It really could. Look, it's we're in uncharted territory, aren't we? You know, who would have ever thought this lockdown could have so much repercussions on the league? But one thing we do know, it will decimate certain teams because of what's going on. Now, I don't think Bournemouth could afford to lose any player, let alone, you know, half a dozen to 9 players. It could be their death knell. It could be. But again, you know, this is where you use your squad as to the best of your ability. And you've just got to roll with the punches, I suppose, because if you're losing players because you haven't got them in contract, there's certain issues that have happened at the club why they're out of contract.
True, yeah.
So you have to look at both sides: the recruitment side, the contractual side, and obviously the free contract side.
Yeah, I mean it's a big mess, isn't it? With stuff like that. I mean, people were criticising. I mentioned it before, Troy Deeney for not wanting to go and play. I know he's gone back into training, I think, this week. But, you know, we've said any footballer, in our opinion, who's worried about health concerns and stuff, I don't think anybody can throw anything at them. And I certainly, if an Everton player turned around and went, I'm not playing because a father-in-law, mother-in-law, whoever it may be, lives with us or whatever, then I'd just be like, fine, because until we know that you're 100% safe, which we're not at the minute, you can understand that, and that's obviously the likes of Kante and stuff, isn't it? So,
definitely.
You know, and especially, like you said before, the black and minority ethnic players who seem to have had some real concerns over that, and we've seen data that says that, you know, those ethnic groups are twice as likely. You know, you can understand the worry around that, can't you? And nobody should be levelling anything at those kind of players.
Yeah, look, people are well within their rights to have their opinion and say, look, if he's not 100%, like I usually go in and I could do what I need to do and come home and everybody's safe.
Yeah.
They're more than well within their rights to say, look, I'm not going to take the risk, guys. You know, the great thing for clubs with big squads is you get a chance to utilize your squad.
Yeah,
You've got to be able to utilize your squad, and we know it's a squad game now, guys. It really is a squad game now. So Carlo Ancelotti, Big Fergie, all them guys are going to have to use the squad as they see fit now.
Yeah.
But you definitely can't level anything at anybody who's got concerns.
No.
Kev, while we've got you on, might as well talk about Arsenal for a minute. The Aubameyang situation, going into the last year of his contract, what do Arsenal do? Because he is there. I mean, apart from that absolutely terrible sitter that he missed in the Europa League game against Olympiacos, he is obviously Arsenal's absolute standout player. I don't know what's quite gone on with Lacazette, because 1 minute he looks amazing. I don't know whether it's because he's like a match of the day player, because that's the only time we see him. But some weeks he looks absolutely amazing, and then other times he doesn't. But Aubameyang is the one player that you can trust at Arsenal. What are Arsenal gonna do with him? Are they gonna? He's about to turn 30. Well, he is 30, I think, isn't he? Should he throw a big contract at him?
I think he's 30. I think he's 31. I think he's 31 now.
Okay.
30, 31. Look, it's the mess that is Arsenal. I'm going to be really honest with you guys. It's a mess. They said when Sanchez left that they'll never put themselves in this position again, because at the time, Alexis Sanchez and Mesut Ozil's contract were running down. They signed Mesut Ozil on a big contract. They let Alexis Sanchez go. And here we are again. Aubameyang has a year left after this, and Lacazette has a year left after this. So it's bad management. It's bad management. It's bad recruitment. That recruitment type of contracts, you've got to be able to tie these guys up. You're guaranteed 20 goals a season, minimum, with Aubameyang. You are guaranteed. Those players, you do not just get anywhere. So you have to tie these guys up. And if you're not going to tie him up, should have sold him a year ago.
Yeah. Where
you could get maximum money. So now, if you're going to do any bit of business, you're going to get maybe 30 million for him. But is 30 million enough for 20 goals? What's the
to replace him?
What's the ratio? What do you put against it? Give me 20 goals any day. Keep your 30 million. Give me 20 goals. If you stick another 20 goals in Everton's team, where are Everton? Everton are right there near the top.
So should we buy him?
Right there near the top.
Should we buy him then?
You probably listen. You probably could, because Arsenal right now, just don't have the money. I don't think they've got the money to offer him the type of deal that he wants. I think they've made an offer now, but the type of money that he can garner, he can get. The top teams are going to come for him. The top teams are going to come for him because he's a star.
He's one in that Arsenal team who you would say, when you're saying who do we take out of those teams, he would be one I would love. And we know better than anything, losing Lukaku. You look around and go, oh, well, if we replace the goals from midfield and we get another one and he gets 15 and it's dead easy to say it on paper. Lukaku went out of us and we've suffered ever since. And you look at Arsenal and you go, tell you what, if they lose Aubameyang, he's not easy. Captain as well, he's not easy to replace.
Does it make it more frustrating then about this David Luiz deal? Obviously, because they're letting him go. He signed for a year. They paid 8 million for him. But, there's rumours out there that the whole deal was between 16 and 24 million for a year. See that?
Yeah, but don't follow rumours, guys. Don't follow the rumours, right? What I will say is, if you, I'm not sure if you remember what happened. Frank Lampard went in, and it was kind of right near the end of the window.
Yeah, we know.
And it was quite near the end of the window. So to get a deal done, you had to move fast.
Yeah.
Now, that's what happened. Whatever happens and however the cake is cut, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
That's the best way I'll put it. However you have to cut the cake, to get the experience of a David Luiz in your building, Arsenal was struggling. Arsenal had to pay the money because they couldn't then go and negotiate with another team, because another team would say, no, you don't leave us enough opportunity to go and buy somebody.
Yeah.
So Arsenal had to do the deal, and sometimes that's what you have to do. So it's no point crying over the spilt milk now. It got done. He's done okay. He hasn't ripped any trees up. He's getting older. So what are Arsenal going to do? It's going to be really interesting. You know, his contract's up now, but is there an option? Will they sign him? I think they will re-sign him because Saliba and some of the younger ones need some experience with them. They do. You know, buying experience costs money.
He's a good player. Saliba's a very good player who's getting in from Saints. I know signed him last year, but he's coming in. He looks like a hell of a prospect. And if you put experience with him, because Arsenal really struggle at centre-back. They've never, for years, they haven't been able to get it right. And, you know, so you're right in a bit of experience. But that deal cost Everton.
Well, I was going to say, that's why we know, because that deal cost us a player. And
Tomori.
it was going to be Zouma at first, and then it turned out to be Tomori. So that deal, we were thinking, oh, is our new centre-back coming in for a year? And then Arsenal get David Luiz, and it cost it. And it just shows you. It showed, like you've just said.
You were never getting him. You were never getting him. You were never getting him. Because Chelsea weren't letting him go. And you know what? Kurt Zouma should still be in a blue top. But Everton top.
Yeah.
Kurt Zouma should have still been at Everton.
Yeah.
I said it. Remember, we done an interview and I said it.
Yeah.
Sign him. Don't let him leave the building. Do what you can to sign that guy because he's a player. But you know, look, he went back to Chelsea, done pretty well. But there might be an opportunity of doing a deal.
Possibly.
I think.
Possibly.
Maybe. Kev, we listen. It's been a crazy week in the world. We obviously seen the killing of George Floyd nearly 2 weeks ago now. We've seen the world respond. We've seen football start to respond in terms of German football, and we've seen Jadon, Sancho, a few other players over there.
Weston McKennie,
yeah. We've seen football clubs in this country do, you know, taking a knee and things like that at their training grounds, and obviously the more putting messages out. But how does football respond to this? Because we've seen FIFA come out this week as well and say, you know, if anyone puts a message on their shirt or anything, there will not be any disciplinary issues. Germany got rid of the yellow cards that was handed out at the weekend, because obviously that's what they're the rules, so they just give out yellow cards. But how does football respond to this? Because as we know, and as you'll know more than me and Baz, you know, racism is still in football. Anyone who thinks it's not in football has never been to a football match. So how does football respond to this, and what do we need to do off the back of this?
Well, I think football has to tread very carefully, because it's all very well supporting something that isn't directly affecting you, you know, at the game. But when it rears its ugly head in our game, the game that we love, nothing gets done. So it doesn't make sense. So, you know, I'm sure FIFA would say, you know, anything that people put out, you know, they're going to let it slide, and the German football are going to let it slide, because we've seen things happening in the game that have just been overlooked. So authorities-wise, you know, we've said it all along. Action needs to be taken, and harsher punishments and all this kind of thing. And we're still waiting for these so-called punishments of what happened with England and all this kind of thing. What happened at Chelsea? What happened there? You know, so again, actually watching what happened to George Floyd was terrible. You know, listen, whether he was black, white, or whatever, that should not be happening at the hands of a law enforcement officer. Let's be brutally honest. So that, I think that's what shocked a lot of people into the reaction. But again, football has to tread very carefully. How do we move forward? We got to get our own house in order. You know, we know this stuff does rear its ugly head in football, and it needs to be stamped out. And however way they start that process, harsher punishments need to come down. And, you know, clubs have to be held accountable, you know, because some fans support clubs. So if the fans are doing it at the club stadium or on behalf of their club, then maybe it has to be the clubs that has to suffer. Because that's because I know this, if Everton are winning the game and some moron does something that jeopardizes Everton, and maybe it was a points deduction or something, everybody would turn to that fan, and you know, he wouldn't be looked at in the best of lights.
No.
And sometimes that then makes the fans be accountable for themselves. So maybe that's the way. Look, we could juggle this and balance this as best we can, but something has to be done. And I know it's very difficult. Look, it's escalated into looting and rioting and all this kind of thing, which obviously they don't agree with. People are angry, but I don't want it to detract away from that vision, that video that we watched of, that poor man getting his life taken away from him.
No, you're absolutely right. On the things you've just said there, I think, if the protests, I would imagine, are 95% peaceful, and it's just, I suppose, whichever TV network or whatever you're watching and decides what kind of bias they want to show. But football has to get its house in order. You're absolutely right, because when you go back to the things at Chelsea concerning Sterling and other things we've seen in England,
we've had our own. We had Moise Keane.
Yeah, we had the Moise Keane.
Well, you've got a Serie A, which is a top 5 league. Moise Keane getting racially abused, and his own captain then going and criticising. Well, maybe he shouldn't have done that. Maybe he brought it on himself. But what?
It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. And, the rhetoric gets thrown around about, you're not understanding the culture and all that. I don't care what the culture you're talking about. To discriminate against somebody because of the color of their skin is wrong. No matter what culture where you are in the world or what you're doing, that's wrong.
Yeah, and I think so. I think one of the main things that has to come out of this, in football, I think, is, and you've just said it there, there's no point people just patting each other on the back and putting black squares on Instagram and all this kind of thing, and UEFA coming out saying, oh, it's fine, no one will get punished. But people do need to start getting punished, and like you've just said there, it should be on fans to self-police it when they can, knowing that if we get done for this, if we get done because someone's been racially abused, then we're losing the points. And that's what'll hurt them. It's no point saying, oh, we'll get this fine, or that person in the crowd might get prosecuted. It's got to start being points, because when you're seeing, and we've seen this in the past, when you've seen clubs getting fined for having the wrong sponsor, or players for having gambling slogans on boxer shorts like Benton did and things like that, and they're more than people are getting done for racism. That just shows that they're not taking it seriously. Partial ground closures. No.
Well,
Kick them out the tournament.
Didn't Montenegro get fined $4,000 or something?
Yeah.
Or, for race, like £4,000 and £8,000. And you're like, what? $8,000 for what's just gone on?
Me personally, I think, as a fan, look, I am lucky enough to grow up in an era where there was racial abuse from the terraces. And I say I'm lucky enough because I've come through it and I've been to grounds, and it's nowhere near like it was now, but there still is an element of it. And what I realized is certain fans will do it to put players off. They will do it to put players off, to unsettle them and all that, and they think they're doing their bit.
Yeah.
But if that's actually gonna cost their team points, they won't do it.
Yeah.
Because they're there for their team.
For the team, yeah.
So if they're actually gonna cost their team points, they're not gonna do it, because they want to see their team win. They don't want to they don't want to be the reason why their team are losing points. That's for sure. So maybe it has to get that drastic and that finite that, if this happens and it's proven, that section, you're going to get docked points. And I think we could clear this stuff up very quickly.
Do you think this will be the moments in history, certainly for football, maybe other sports as well, where we actually shame all these federations now and all these organisations into something? Because that's what it feels like with the movements, certainly in America, and I know it spread to the UK, and there was a big demonstration yesterday in London, but it actually feels like now that people haven't got anywhere to hide, because one of the things I'm hearing now is it's not enough to be not a racist. You have to be, anti-racist. If that makes, you have to go up against these people that you're seeing who are racist. It's not enough for white people or whatever to just sit there going, oh, isn't that terrible? They need to start doing something now. Do you think that is going to be the thing that shames the likes of FIFA into UEFA to say we can't hide behind these things anymore? Now we have to start actually doing something.
I'd like to think so. I honestly would like to think so, but history tells me they will not do anything, because just with the fines we've mentioned, Nicholas Bentner wears a betting thing, and there's people racially abusing black players, and the fines are the one with the betting slogan was so high, and the racist one was so low. It makes no sense. This has gone on far too long for something that's happened in America to say, oh, they're going to be shocked into all of a sudden thinking, oh, we need to do the right thing now. They've never done the right thing. I'm saying I'm lucky enough to have gone through it. I'm still hearing it. I'm still seeing it up to this day. So, nothing's changed. These organizations and administrations, I won't hold my breath. Let's put it that way. I would like to think they would change, but I won't hold my breath.
Yeah, I mean it's an awful situation, but I sitting here, it looks to me like things are changing, but because you've lived through it, that it'll only change when it actually changes. Because it might just be this month's in vogue thing.
This month's distraction from COVID, probably.
So, I mean, let's hope it is happening. Let's hope it is happening.
But that's the test.
Yeah.
But that's the test. That's going to be the test. We've seen all these people, Blackout Tuesday, and all this stuff, slogans, and support. I want to see in 5-6 months' time if there's still these certain same people are still going to be there.
Yeah.
Because that would have settled down a little bit then, but will they still be fighting the fight? I don't think so.
Well, let's hope something massively changes out of Kev. Have you got any more?
No, I think
yeah. Kev, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the Footy Show Daily, mate. Always great to speak to you. It was great to get your feelings on obviously what we've been seeing in the world this week. So great to have you on, mate.
Listen, thanks for being on, and I've got to say, guys, that interview with Don Hutchinson was brilliant. Absolute quality. I love that guy, and how sick I was when he left the club. God, half of my goal scoring opportunities diminished when he left.
He loves you.
No, thanks for having me on.
He loves you as well.
I love him too. Listen, thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Cheers, Kev. Superb. Thank you very much. There you have it, Kevin Campbell on the Footy Show Daily. If you haven't watched this live, make sure you get over to Patreon. The link is in the description. Big thanks to Kev. Catch that Don Hutchinson interview as well. It's great work by Baz. The editing is amazing on it, by the way. It's all about the editing. Yeah. There you go. See you soon on the Footy Show Daily.